Hey guys, I want to talk to you about the importance of proper communication and negotiation techniques. This is where you, as a real estate investor, can really capitalize and make the most for your money. Many times, this is where all the focus goes. But I want to back up for a second and say this works best when it works in harmony with proper bio delivery. And you also need to build rapport. Now, most of the time we get into this and this is it. Teach me how to negotiate. Teach me how to hardcore negotiate. Teach me how to just get the deal, okay? And that happens with some people. But when you harmonize these other techniques to get together and negotiating, this makes your business much stronger so you can continue and create a snowball effect, especially within your community and also within your network of people that you're working with. They realize that you are building a business for the future and not just trying to get a dollar for today. Okay, so this is really big. And if you want to make money, this is where it works. I believe this multiplies your money by helping you not miss many deals that could be deals. But sometimes in the hands of other hard negotiators, the deal slips through the cracks. So I want to teach you how to avoid missing deals simply by understanding proper negotiation and communication techniques. So let's dive in and deal with a few things in the call that you're going to be making with the seller. First, they are selling you their home, and I'm going to start with a question. When you're talking with the seller, after you introduce yourself, and you ask them if it's a good time to talk. Now, you may not know their asking price. And you would ask, so what is your asking price right now? Now notice, instead of saying, what is your asking price? I said, what is your asking price right now? This can mean there had been a time they had asked one price and now it's possibly lower. And it also can say, this is their asking price now, okay? But with this simple question, I'm staging another conversation in the future that I might be looking for a lower price than it is right now. It's just a simple, subtle way of beginning the conversation and letting them know that you are there to negotiate, right? So it was asking price right now, and obviously we hope the person is going to say a price. Okay? If they do not give a price, this is a hard way to negotiate. Some people will say, oh, I'm not sure about the price, but can you just come out and look at it and make an offer? And here's your answer. Well, we can come out and make an offer, but I'd like to find out where you are so we don't waste your time or our time. And we don't want to come out with an offensive offer that wouldn't make sense for you. We obviously are a slave to the numbers, and we want to make sure we're close so we can work together, okay? They might respond, well, I don't know how much I want for the house. So how do you respond to that? You can do this. Make sure you have the right tone, and you can offer them a crazy low price. This is part of communication and negotiation. Say, for instance, you know the house is going to be worth $100,000, okay? And they might take $80,000 for the house. Well, you can say, if you don't know what you would take for the house, I get it. So that means you might take $30,000, and immediately they're going to say, no way, I wouldn't take $30,000. So that's going to be the knee-jerk reaction. You're going to say, hey, great, I really wouldn't think that you'd take $30,000, but if we don't know what you are asking, I would like to find out at least what you just wouldn't take. So what is that number that you know that you will not take? I don't want to come out and waste your time and make a ridiculously low offer. And a lot of times they know if you're serious, and they also know when you're just prodding them. Once I get a number, I make this statement. So what is your asking price right now? And whatever number they say, then you say, is that the best you can do? They might lower it a bit more, and then I will stop and say, hey, that's tremendous. that's within the ballpark. When we come out, I like to assume there may be a little more wiggle room. Now, I'm not asking them to negotiate. They usually say, yeah, there may be a little wiggle room. And then I'd say, that's great. I'm not really a hard negotiator over the phone, and I'm not going to push for a price, especially if I haven't looked at the house. We will talk a little bit more and then work on getting an appointment scheduled. So to recap that first part, we're just going to say, what's your asking price right now? Is that the best you can do? And I'm going to assume there may be a little wiggle room. See, that's the language I've used to build $1 million real estate business, and it still works for me today. Now, there's another question that I have whenever I'm negotiating properties on a subject to or a wraparound mortgage where there's an existing loan against the house that has to be paid off. Whether you pay it off or you get it on a wraparound mortgage, okay? This is the way that most people ask for the information on the loan. Now, catch this. Do you have a loan on the house, or do you have a mortgage on the house? Now, this is a real question, and I don't know how you'd respond to that question, but me personally, I feel like now you're digging into my personal world, and this is an area I want to keep private, and I'm not really interested in telling someone that I don't trust information like this. And now, some people that are very desperately motivated, if they think that you're the buyer, they're going to tell you a little bit about that mortgage. But if they're not as strongly motivated, but may be interested in hearing someone that they can trust, they may talk, but only if you ask the right way. So you ask them this, or you make this statement, hey, I assume it's free and clear, right? Now, why did I say that? I assume it's free and clear, right? Well, the reason why I said that is now I want to give the seller an opportunity to celebrate rather than, do you have a loan on the house? In a free and clear home, a property that has a lot of equity is something worth celebrating. It's an achievement. And because I've staged this anticipation that I want to celebrate with them, it gives them the opportunity to brag. I have developed another level of trust. I'm looking for a positive response, that positive information, not do you have a loan on your house? So I assume it's free and clear, right? And if it is, of course, they're going to say, oh yeah, before, if I ask them, do you have a loan on your house, giving them the opportunity to celebrate, they're going to say, oh yeah, it's free and clear. But it's a total different attitude when the atmosphere is the atmosphere of celebrating just by simply changing the question. And whenever they say, sure, it's free and clear, that's what I do. I'll celebrate with them. I say, hey, congratulations. That is awesome. That's tremendous. Now, on the other hand, if we find out that it's not free and clear, they would most likely develop an instant trust and say, no, it's not free and clear, but we only owe this number. And so I get the answer many times, 10 times more by using the simple negotiation and communication technique. When they say, no, it's not free and clear, you know there's a mortgage. You now can gently nudge and ask this question, may I ask how much you owe? And if you get a resistance on that question, they say, well, I'm not comfortable with sharing. Without feeling that you're rejected, you can simply back up in the conversation. Hey, that's perfectly fine. I understand. Our attorney will find out the information so we can settle on the mortgage so the loan could be settled at the closing. That eases the conversation right back down to where you had it before, and now you just move on. Now, with that technique, you didn't harm yourself or you didn't harm your conversation by what you just said. And so we're going now to move on into how you can make an offer cash/terms. So I'm going to try to quickly go through this here. Now, after this, I've received this information. I've got my bio. I'll begin to build a little bit of rapport by talking about who I am and politely understanding and communicating with them about what I can do to help them. And when I'm presenting my offer to them, I need to make sure that they understand that I want to give them a win-win. Now that we're at the negotiation point, I'll say, now that you know a little bit about me, I'll explain to you that there are two ways that we buy properties. One is I pay all cash, but considering that I'm an investor, I'm a slave to the numbers, and I need to be able to buy it in a way that I'm able to flip it and make profit on the house. So in a nutshell, I'll buy with all cash, but I need to buy it on a deep discount. And I need to be very careful because I can blow it right there, okay? Because everybody wants full price. But at the same time, they feel like they've got it marked at a price where everybody wants to buy their house. So I'll buy it on a discount, but sir, ma'am, I'm not sure that it isn't already discounted. You may already have it discounted, and this may be a wonderful opportunity for me, but I still staged and let them know that I'm buy properties on a deep discount so I can make money with all cash. But then there's the other way I buy houses. And the other way I buy houses rather than buy now on a discount, get this, I buy time by making payments until I pay you off in full, or I sell the house, whichever comes first, okay? Now, I'm going to stop right there. And if you stop there and ask them if they will take terms on their property, 95 times out of 100, they're going to say, I want all cash. Well, why is that? Well, it's because 100% of everybody wants cash, okay? The reason why is simply this. Say, for instance, I'm at a meeting with my family at a special dinner, and the adults are all sitting together having a good time, and my child wants to go play with other children at the gym, and there's an adult supervision. The adult tells the kids that if you go and ask the parents to go get permission, we'll open the ping pong room for you. And out of the blue, there you are, you're having a wonderful conversation with the adults, enjoying this time of a social fellowship, and your child comes to you and says, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, can I go up to the ping pong room? Well, instantly, if we don't know anything or everything about the whole scenario, what are we going to say? No. We're going to say no. We're usually more apt to say no to the question if we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So if I tell people I'm going to make their payments until I pay it off in full or I sell the house, whichever comes first, well, you like that? And if they feel that they're forced to answer that, they automatically will say no. So here's how I end here. I'm making payments until I pay off in full or I sell the house, whichever comes first. But listen, now understandably, this option would have to be in a conversation that you would be willing to entertain. So I'm never on the opening call going to force anyone into making a decision on terms when they really have no clue what terms is. They know what cash is, but they don't understand all the benefits of getting a full price, me paying all the closing costs, close whenever they want. And there's no realtor commissions involved. I do my own inspections and I don't need an appraisal, but they don't know all of that or any of that. So I don't need to start pitching them to convince them with the hard close that this is what they need to do. I need to say, understandably, this option would have to be in a conversation that you'd be willing to entertain. Write that down. This would need to be in a conversation that you would be willing to entertain. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just given you a multi-million-dollar phrase that has turned multiple no leads into yes leads just by following the way I say it. Well, people want to make an educated answer, not a guess on what they could potentially do as a seller of a home. You are introducing a new way they can make the most out of selling their house. So again, write this down. Number one, we buy on a discount. Number two, we buy a little bit of time. Then ask, can I make a note that you might entertain both options? Okay, so we have a few more techniques I want to share before we get off of here. Have you ever had someone on the call that wanted to take over the conversation? Remember, it is important to let them talk and make sure you're listening. But after a while, when you've been on the call for 20 minutes and they talked about everything and you know they're just hungry to have someone listen, but you need to move on, there's a simple way that you can nudge your way into the conversation. Take control with this phase. say this. Let me ask you this question. Say that. Let me ask you this question. Then you can start talking about the house again, okay? Courtesy will force them to say, yeah. And that's another thing that you can use. You might want to write that down also. And then there's one you can use that instead of scaring people off with words like contracts, instead of saying, okay, we're going to put this under contract when we come out, you can say this. When we come out, if you like us and we like your home and we're ready to make the decision right then, we can put it on paper, not contract. We want to put it on paper. Just change that. You'll put it on paper, not contract. Hey guys, there's a lot of techniques that I've used for the years of building my rapport, building my bio, and negotiating the sellers, keeping it soft until it's ready for them to hand over the property, treat them fairly, and that is done by proper negotiation and communication techniques. I hope this helps. If you want to learn more, click the link below and let us guide you through that process. If you need help building a rapport or implementing it into the conversation, into the script, please reach out to us and let us know. Give us a call. We want to help you with your negotiating and your techniques. This will give you the ability to massively control your conversation when it comes to buying and selling properties. Again, my name is Clayton Massey. God bless and success.